Do we have any topics for open debate? Mike?
Sorry, I kind of jumped the gun on sending that list there. Yes, I do have an open debate topic. It is about bike and skateboard storages around campus, and essentially, how does the Student Senate believe the addition of bike and skateboard storages will benefit the community at Roger Williams University?
Would you like to expand on that?
Yes. So I took a look around campus, and I noticed a lot of areas on the south side of campus, in particular the residence halls of Cedar, Maple, Stonewall, and Bayside lack bike racks. And I found this as an issue mainly due to the fact that we have bike racks around campus, but students do not have areas to store these bikes. So if we have no areas to store the bikes, it leads to many students instead storing their bikes on the walls inside of their dorms, in rafters, or within other locations that prove to be a hazard. So with this will allow people to safely lock up their bikes outside of their residence halls and can leave them in an area where they can be protected. The other idea was, of course, to add skateboard storages, considering they were pretty popular on campus, especially the one within Lower Commons. And there's also the idea of a within a bike storage shed, so that in case of harsh weather, people can actually put their bike in a long-term area without leaving them exposed to the elements. We have support from IRHA's advocacy committee, which believes that this is a plausible idea. So I wanted to bring this forward to the Student Senate to see what everyone else's opinions are on the subject.
Okay. All those in favor of opening this open debate topic? All those opposed? Abstentions? So this topic is not open. Mike, if you have anything else to say, you can continue, but if not, we can move on to the rest of the speakers list. And with that thumbs up, I'm going to assume we can move on. So Ainsley.
Debate to 15 minutes.
Second.
All those in favor of limiting open debate to, I believe it was 15 minutes? Yeah, all those in favor of limiting this open debate topic to 15 minutes? All those opposed? Abstentions? So this topic is limited to 15 minutes, and we'll get the timer started. Ainsley, you're up first.
I'm very much in favor of this, especially living in Stonewall. There are no bike racks or anywhere to place them. There is actually a suite on the first floor of Stonewall 1. We have affectionately dubbed the Bike Gang, because they actually have a bike rack in the suite. And I think there are 6 bikes in that suite, which makes it kind of a safety concern in there a bit at times with like walking through it. So I definitely agree with the bike racks being placed more in the residence hall area and throughout campus. For the bike shed, I had a few questions about that. I never thought about that as an option for storage. Would you think that there would be multiple places throughout campus, or just one central one? How would this look? Would it look like a normal shed? I've never seen a bike shed before. That's why I'm asking. Would it be safe? Would it be locked? Would you get a key? I'm sorry, I have so many questions about a bike shed. Would you get a, because now I'm concerned about theft from that area, so that's just another thing. But yeah, sorry for so many questions.
Mike, would you like to direct?
So mainly I'm going to answer the question about the bike shed. So I actually got this idea from a senator who was helping me work on this, but I got some more information from the bike program at Wesleyan University. They are a similar sized school. They have a very extensive map about bikes, storage, and they answer a lot of questions. And one of the things that they have there is an internal bike storage within one of their residence halls. So basically what the idea is it keeps an area where you can vertically store bicycles on a wall, on a rack where you can lock them. And then basically anyone can enter the room. And basically it's just a long-term storage area where it's out of the way. It can be hung up on a wall to save space. and basically it keeps it from being exposed to the elements. If this room were to be locked, it can be locked, but for the most part, it should be an open area where people could enter. That's how I envisioned it. I also asked IRHA's advocacy committee, and they said that it's not possible to put one inside of a residence hall, of course, but the external shed idea would basically follow that, except be detached from the building. And as for your question about there being multiple, currently we don't have an exact idea. I know that we at least wanted to have at least one, but we wanted to bring up the idea of seeing if Senate would want multiple sheds, because I do not see that as something against it, because I believe we do have areas and space and locations for sheds to pop up, but I do believe that at least one would be a great help.
Thank you.
Does that conclude your speaking turn, Ainsley? Okay, we'll move on to Brian.
Sorry. So what my question is, or I should say, I am fully in support of this. I just want to say I have personally seen, like, there's a bike right outside Maple 3 that just sits out there. I've never seen anyone take it. It just sits there. I don't know whose it is. Wish I did. But my question is, what will we do for the skateboards? Are we doing the same thing, or we doing different things? Because there is a skateboard holder in the Upper Commons, I believe, for when people go and get lunch and stuff and dinner.
Mike or anyone else, does anyone want to direct? Oh, go ahead, Mike.
So the idea with skateboard storage is because we only have one skateboard storage within, like you said, Upper Commons, and as I said earlier, I accidentally said lower. I apologize. Well, considering, like, for example, if you're ever going to any of your classes, sometimes you'll notice a student who brings in a skateboard. So the idea was, I feel like it's not going to be needed for residence halls in this scenario, considering you can just keep a skateboard, a longboard within your room, for example, but so it doesn't seem as necessary. But for other buildings, like, for example, GHH, CAS, or the rec center, I feel like it's a lot more viable to put bike storages in those locations. So basically an area with a lot of foot traffic where you will not have a location to put your skateboard or longboard.
Do you want to continue your speaking turn, Brian, or are you all set?
I'm all set. Thank you.
Cool. Brianna.
I would agree with the point that the previous senator made, that they would be like most effective in like the buildings that people, like, not like residence halls, like buildings like the rec center, the library, like places that people go outside of their room. But I would be concerned about like security, because I mean the rack in like Upper Commons, like, can you lock your skateboard to like anything?
Ali, point of information.
Yes, in regards to the question the previous senator just asked, for the skateboard rack in Upper Commons, I don't believe you can lock it, but that's because it's behind the desk that the people checking people into Commons or into Upper Commons are sitting at. So that's sort of what the security would be there. So I hope that answers the question.
Does that conclude your speaking turn, Brianna?
Yes.
Sounds good. I have Ainsley up next, but I'm not sure if that was a mistake on my end. Okay. Michaela.
Just really quickly, we were talking about this, I think last year. We don't have to make like a full shed. It could just be like a roof over it. So like just put a covering over the rack. So cause like when I heard shed, I was like, that's gonna be a lot of upkeep. But just like a roof over it would be nothing. And then just having the slots for the skateboard like in upper. But for security, I definitely see why people are concerned about it. But I don't think people, like over in North Campus, I don't really think people lock their bikes up in the first place. So I don't know if that's a big concern. But my main point was just make a covering instead of a shed.
Ashley.
An idea I had after thinking about speaking with Carol and Allison Chase Padula last week is that if like a part of the strategic plan is building new res halls, we could possibly incorporate this like into the new res halls, have a section like on the first floor where like bikes can be stored on the inside. So that way, like we don't need to have multiple sheds across campus because the bikes could be stored inside the res hall that way instead of putting like a bike rack out there. And then kind of just building off of what like the previous senators have said about the skateboard racks. I don't think they would be needed in the rest halls. They mostly just be needed in like academic and other buildings on campus.
Jack?
The one thing I would say is with the skateboards, there is a liability concern if you're leaving a skateboard at, say, like a dining hall in a designated area. There is an issue with being liable if someone steals it or whatever. So there is a concern there. As far as bike racks go, most people don't want to leave their bike just outside. So that's most likely why most people bring them into their room and prefer to do that. So unless you're doing a way to cover them at all, it's kind of pointless, but that's my 2 cents.
Allie? G?
I think that this is a great idea. I want to emphasize the point that was in the factual introduction that's typed up, that there was a resolution my freshman year, so a few years back, about a bike path, getting a bike path. And I think that if we are going to encourage students to bring bikes, telling them that we have the storage for them to keep them safe in whatever means necessary. So obviously, if we are all in favor of this topic tonight, then we would, or Mike and whoever he's working with, would look into exactly what type of storage. But all of this would sort of tie together very, very well. And it would also, I don't know where I was going with the also part, but I think that this is a great idea. And considering that I know a lot of students have bikes, I've seen students ride their bikes a lot. I see them outside of North Campus residence halls a lot. But in regards to underclassmen residence halls, I don't see them outside because there's simply not a place to put them. And I know when I'm doing health and safeties for underclassmen residents, I see them hiding in the rafters. I see them under beds. I see them on walls. So if they had storage outside, I think that'd make their lives a little bit easier. So just wanted to put that comment in.
Adam?
I think it's a good idea. For me, I would like to see specifics on exactly what percent of the population has a bike, so we know exactly how many we're looking at and what the capacity would have to be. And then kind of thinking about working with administrators, either public safety to get a security camera installed or some other security measures, I think would be important. And I would have a motion to straw poll.
Second.
What your straw poll question be?
Is the student senate in favor of bike racks in skateboard racks or sheds? With the answers being yes and no.
And there was a second. So all those in favor of taking the straw poll? All those opposed? Abstentions? Okay, so we will ask the straw poll question, and our audience members, if you are there, you can also vote on this straw poll question. So just feel free to vote yes or no on this as well. So all those in favor of, is the student senate in favor of having bike racks and or skateboard racks? All those in favor? All those not in favor? Okay, so what are the results of the straw poll?
19 people are in favor of having bike racks and not bike racks. What's the wording? Bike racks and skateboard racks, and 0 people were opposed.
So let the straw poll reflect that the student senate and the audience is unanimously in favor of having bike racks and skateboard racks. There's a direct from Jordan.
Yeah, on the point of what the previous senator said, I think it is a great idea to, find out how many people have bikes on campus, but I just want to make everyone aware that I think more people would want to bring their bikes to campus if there was actually a place they could store them. So I think that those numbers might be changing if we actually do bring those bike racks and, places to actually store your bikes in bad weather to campus. Because I do know a lot of people, I think I'm one of them included, would want to have their bike on campus if I didn't want to drive my car or something like that. I think the numbers would increase. So I think that it might not necessarily be 100% correct asking people how many bikes are on campus now. I think that will only increase and it wouldn't give us an exact number.
Mike.
I apologize. Okay. Another part of this was after speaking with IRHA's Advocacy Committee Chair Doug, they also went over the point of when this project we would want to predict it would be, or I should say, what would be a great time frame to get this project done. And I was just wondering what people's thoughts would be on of what time period would we want to see this initiative take place. For example, spring of 2022, that semester, or another time period.
Where?
I just wanted to suggest to all of you that with the survey, you could probably ask a couple of questions. So I would start by asking, how many people have their bikes on campus now? And then also ask them, but if we were to provide storage for your bike or skateboard, would you be interested in having one? And then you can cover both of the issues that you're trying to address, and it can help kind of determine how many spaces and places you'll need to account for on campus.
And with that, that concludes the 15 minutes that we had for this open debate topic. So this open debate topic is now closed. Are there any other topics for open debate?
Motion to close open debate.
Second.
All those in favor of closing open debate? All those opposed? Abstentions? Open debate is now closed. Any motions for old business?
Motion to open new old business.
Second.
All those in favor of opening old business? All those opposed? Abstentions? Old business is now open. Do we have any pieces of legislation for old business? Jake.
Introducing SS47-045, a bill allocating funds from the reserve account to renovate the floors and walls of Hawks Lounge.
Would you like to elaborate?
Sure. So, as you have all been aware, Adrian and I have been looking at that space for some time now and coming up with ways in which we can benefit that area and make it really a spot where everyone on campus, including current students and prospective students, are really excited to utilize that space, because currently you'll rarely ever really see people down there, and we are hoping to change that with the upcoming year with more in-person events and in-person social interaction being encouraged, all things going well. And this is the first step to accomplishing that goal of the renovation.
Okay, so we'll open the speakers list now. If anyone wants to discuss on this bill, you may go ahead and type in list into the chat.
Motion to limit debate to 7 minutes.
Second.
All those in favor of limiting debate to 10 minutes?
He said 7 minutes, I thought you said.
Yeah, 7.
Oh, 7, thank you, to 7 minutes. I don't know if that changes anyone's mind. All those opposed? Abstentions? So that we are limiting debate now to 7 minutes. We'll get timer started now. And if anybody would like to yield to Blair, that'd be
I'll
great.
yield my speaking turn to my sister.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you. I just wanted to add to what Jake shared. I know he talked a lot about students being able to use the space, but I think it's also really important for everyone to remember that when prospective students are coming to campus, this is literally the first space they see. It's where tours starts, it's where ASDs start. So when you're thinking about this, also think about the fact that it affects enrollments. Thank you.
Anyone else for the speakers list? Oh, goodness. Anyone want to yield to Adrian?
I'll yield to Adrian.
Okay, Adrian, go ahead.
I also just want to add in regards to the walls, this is for the upper lounge, the lower lounge, as well as areas of like the actual Hawk's Nest Cafe. So we're including a refresh in that as we're looking at these different areas.
Jack?
So what exactly would it include? Like furniture, floors, paint, exactly like that, I assume, or?
Go ahead, Jake.
So this is just going to include the walls and the floors for the renovation. There's actually a separate bill for new gaming equipment, and then another one for new furniture. And so those will be coming later, and I'm sure we'll have some nice debate about that. But also, can I throw in a point of information too?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So on the bill that is sent out to each of us, the correct amount is 20,000, not 10,000. And so yeah, that's just a point of information. That's what, because it would be 10,000 for each of the walls and the floors, roughly. So now together it's 20,000, and that's the final amount.
Finally, point of inquiry.
Yeah. In Adrian's speaking turn, was sort of mentioned that this was covering the upper Hawk's Nest wall. Is that including the wall that sort of has a collage on it right now? Are we replacing that? I'm more just curious on it.
I believe the head nods mean yes, but Adrian, go ahead and you can direct if you'd like.
Thank you. I was waiting for you to get to my direct. And Blair and I have walked through all of these spaces. So she is also just as knowledgeable as this, probably more than I am. So the different walls we are talking about, they're not just like being painted. We're actually doing like full-on wall wrap design. So that's why the costs are so much higher. But it is that in the upper area, which is going to be called the perch, that is going to be that involvement wall. It is going to be the wall in front of WQRI. Down in the gaming area, which is going to be Hawks Hangout. So it's going to be that back wall that's going to be included, and also spaces in the Hawk's Nest. Is that all this? So that's all of that in regards to the walls. Blair, please correct me if there's a space I forgot.
We're gonna do something with the WQRI booth as well, but that's kind of also a part of the perch.
Yeah.
And the only other thing that I was going to add is I know people are asking about the collage, and obviously this is a large amount of money. I want to settle everyone's concerns. Like, we will not be putting photos of people up again. We are going to keep this like clean and timeless, and it should last a long time for future students and things like that. We don't have to worry about it for a while. So it will be a solid investment that people will be able to enjoy.
And in regards to the floors, because that I'm pretty sure is going to also be questioned in a moment. So I'm also going to turn this into a point of inquiry because I'm the advisor and I can. We're talking about redoing the carpet down in the Hawks hangout because it does not match anything else in the rec center. And in addition, we're taking out the big curved bar in the Hawk's Nest, and they cut around the flooring. So we would need to replace that carpet anyway. And
There is 1 minute left, so I'm going to move on to speakers list. Ainsley, motion from Ally, S.
We're just going to say motion to call this bill to question.
Second.
All those in favor of calling this bill to question? All those opposed? I'm going to abstentions. I'm going to veto because there are 2 speakers left. Ainsley, go ahead.
Motion to extend open debate by 2 minutes.
Second.
I not open debate, the bill, sorry.
Yeah. All those in favor of extend debate to 2 minutes? All those opposed? Abstentions? We will extend for 2 minutes. Ainsley, would you like to continue your speaking turn?
Yes, please. My question is more encompassing of this bill and all the other bills. I was just wondering what the chairs of the other orgs thought about this too for the student voices aspect of it.
Jake, correct?
Yeah, so I sent this along with all of the other bills to them last Friday, so more than a week ago, 9-10 days ago, something like that. And I didn't get any responses from them. I would be very interested to hear what they have to say if anyone is still present. But yeah, so no, personally, I have not received any correspondence despite sending this bill out to them beforehand.
Jake, it is your turn. So if you want to go ahead.
Withdrawn.
Sounds good.
Motion to call this bill to question.
Second.
All those in favor of calling this bill to question? All those opposed? Abstentions? This bill is not called to question. And
Motion to adopt by unanimous consent.
Second.
is there any dissent? Going once, going twice. Okay, this bill passes. Are there any other pieces of legislation for old business? Jake.
Introducing, which one do I want to do? I'll do this one. Introducing SS47-044, a bill allocating funds from the reserve account for the purchase of new furniture for the Hawks Lounge.
Would you like to elaborate?
Yep, so this one is really just a follow-up on that last one. I mean, it'd be kind of silly to renovate a space with new walls and floors and not have furniture to go along with it. So this is going to really update the space, and as we said with the big renovation, it's going to really help make this a place that makes people excited to come to Roger Williams and really engages student activity.
Okay, Brian, motion.
Motion to limit debate to 10 minutes.
Second.
All those in favor of limiting debate to 10 minutes? All those opposed? Abstentions? You're limited to 10 minutes. Zach LaFontaine can start us off.
So I was just curious, with the current furniture we have, Are we going to somehow try to recycle that in other parts of campus, just like we did with the TVs? Or is this something where we're just going to not try to save them and just get cool new stuff?
Anyone want Jake?
So I believe with what we can, we're going to try and repurpose it. The bar that is currently there, and that's to be removed to create a more open space that's more friendly. That is going to be repurposed somewhere else. Adrian told me, totally forgot though. But that will be repurposed, and then I believe with what is applicable and what is able to be reused, I believe that we're going to make our best effort to do that. But with every piece, I'm not sure, because some things, you know, with wear and tear and getting old, they just won't be worth recycling. So with the so I guess the bar is not being repurposed any longer. So yep, that won't be happening. But the effort and the intent to recycle and reuse is definitely in the works, but with whatever's practical.
Ainsley?
I yield my speaking turn to Adrian.
All right. Sorry, I need my mouse. Where's, okay. If Kayla, you'll let me share my screen, I can show you some images of the furniture we're looking at. So primarily this furniture right here. So it's modular. So you can like easily like take pieces apart and like connect pieces together. In the gaming area, so we're also looking at these chairs and these high boys. This furniture right here is this same furniture up here, so that way you can get an idea of what it looks like upright. But we're really just looking for soft, comfortable furniture that you would want to lounge on, study as well. We are also looking into for like the in the perch where the bar, where that railing is, where you look over into the hawk's nest. We're actually going to put in a long 16-foot, 15 or 16-foot workstation, so that like about 5 or 6 people can just like pull up and work there, looking kind of like over the bar or over the railing there. We are going to be bringing in charging ports for USB, as well as like laptop plugins, and really just kind of changing the whole feel of that space. So it really will be more dedicated. You can study, lounge up there, and we're removing that whole element from downstairs from the Hawks Hangout. So the Hawks Hangout will truly be all gaming. And it's not going to be the same type of table, but we are going to also have a wooden bar put in down where all the high boys are along along the ramp. We're going to put in a long bar there, so you can easily just pull up a high boy and sit at the bar, or you can just like lean against the bar. And there's also going to be low tables along like between the doors of the field house where there's more high boys currently. We're going to make that lower seating, so it's more accommodating to people with accessibility needs, because there's nothing more uncomfortable than if you have a family member who's in a wheelchair and everybody's sitting up on high boys, so it feels as though they're towering over them because there isn't a seating space where everybody can be at eye level. And We are looking at getting a few more pieces of furniture further down if the trophy case can disappear.
My inquiry, Ashley.
Just for clarification, the new furniture is going to extend past the current like Hawk's Nest area, but the new flooring and like the changing of the walls is not going to extend past the Hawk's Nest.
Blair?
So the building, when you think about it, is kind of split use because we're sharing it with athletics, and they are in the process of also repainting and redesigning spaces. So the furniture will extend past there. That kind of like tiled flooring will stay. They're not planning on doing anything with that right now, but they are also going to add down that long hallway where all those tables are, there's going to be banners that highlight all 23 varsity sports. And then there's going to be some more vinyls and things for them as you start to head down towards the gym facility downstairs. So over the summer, we're touching almost every inch of the rec center.
Jordan? Mike?
Sorry, withdrawn.
Are there any other speakers for the speakers list?
Motion to call this bill to question.
Second.
All those in favor, call this bill to question. All those opposed? Abstentions? This bill is not called to question.
Motion to adopt by unanimous consent.
Second.
Is there any dissent? Going once, going twice. Okay, this bill passes. Any other piece of legislation for old business? Jake?
Last one, I swear. Introducing SS47-043, a bill allocating funds from the reserve account for the purchase of new game equipment for Hawks Lounge.
Would you like to elaborate?
Yeah, and so this is the final touch, so to speak, for this project. And this is really going to be the last push that is going to take this area and really push it over the top into something that, you know, is very special, like a very nice, fun, and intimate place on campus where, you know, student involvement is going to be encouraged. And so these are each pieces of game equipment that we've done research on, and this is the cost for these pieces of these game equipments, and it's really going to help make the space be a very enjoyable and pleasant experience for everybody.
Motion, Brian.
Motion to limit debate to 10 minutes again.
Second.
All those in favor of limiting debate to 10 minutes? All those opposed? Abstentions? Debate is now limited to 10 minutes. We have a couple of points of inquiries. We'll start with Ainsley.
Thank you, Sam. I had a quick question about line 19. It says a classic arcade machine. Could someone specify which one? That's it. That's the question.
I'm going to yield to Adrian because she's going to have the specifics on each of these machines.
Sure. Okay. So in regards to your question, Senator, we're classic arcade thinking like Space Invaders, Pac-Man, or something to that extent. So that classic style, timeless arcade game. And the same with a pinball. And I had no idea it was so hard to find like a non-themed pinball machine. It's been a challenge, but you know, we found a few options. There's correction for line 17 and 18, we're not purchasing a new a new pool table. We're actually going to have the pool table moved to North Campus. So that'll be over there in their recreational area. And the air hockey table will replace that second pool table. And the air hockey table will have a convertible top so that you can attach a table tennis net so you can play ping pong and I think skee ball. And we're also looking at bringing in skee ball. I think that is all the new components. I know that there was a bill earlier for a foosball table, and we've learned that's on back order, so it will also arrive this summer. So foosball table is still in the midst, but we already purchased that one.
Mike, time of inquiry.
I just have a quick question, basically because the last two bills describe the entire area as the Hawks Lounge. Would this area, like, would these games be placed around the entire Hawks Lounge area, or would it be placed all where, like, the more current games are in the Hawks Nest?
Jake, direct.
Yeah, so it'd be in that the Hawks hangout area. So like near where the games are now.
Ashley, point of inquiry.
I'm just wondering if anyone has like gone out there and like kind of like looked and like spaced out or planned out like where everything is gonna go, because like just based off my memory of like the space, it's not like super huge. So like just kind of wasn't sure if anyone has gone out there and like seen like where they're gonna place all the different like game like equipment, and then where like all the seating is gonna be, because I'm just worried it might like you're trying to like fit too much stuff into like a small space and it's gonna be crammed down there.
I'll direct. Just gonna read Adrian's comments. Yes, we have floor plans already drawn up. And I'll yield the rest of my direct to Adrian.
Also, like, even though you think about it and it seems cramped, the reason it seems cramped is because of that bar. Once the bar is removed, the whole space opens up considerably. And like you just kind of change the angle of one pool table. The air hockey table is slightly smaller than the pool table, and the skee ball can also be completely against a wall. So like there are many like little strange angles and everything, but everything does fit with plenty of space to lounge and for people to play games on the television and lounge while they're playing games.
Adrian, it's your speaking turn next.
Oh, I already put all my information up earlier. Thanks.
Cool. Any other speakers for the speakers list?
Motion to call this bill to question.
Second.
All those in favor of calling this bill to question? All those opposed? Abstentions? This bill is now called to question.
Motion adopted by unanimous consent.
Second.
Is there any dissent? Going once, going twice. Okay, this bill passes. Any other piece of legislation for all business? Adam.
I just have to pull it up. Sorry, everyone. Introducing SS47 048, a bill amending Article 6, Section 2 of the Student Senate bylaws.
Would you like to elaborate?
Yeah, so this is very simply a bill that just seeks to add in that Class C organizations, so CEN cannot maintain a discretionary account. And in the previous paragraph, lines 23 through 28, we can see that Class D organizations can. So this is just making it consistent that it stated that yes, you can, or yes, you cannot. And I will yield to our advisor for anything else.
Motion, Brian.
Motion to limit debate to 20 minutes.
Second.
All those in favor of limiting debate to 20 minutes? All those opposed? Abstentions? Okay, so that motion fails. Is there
Debate to 10 minutes.
Second.
Second.
all those in favor of limiting debate to 10 minutes? All those opposed? Abstentions? Debate is not limited to 10 minutes. We'll start timer now. So if people want to get on the speakers list, you may do so right now. Allie.
I apologize if it was already said. My Wi-Fi might have cut out, but why is CEN or other Class E organizations, why are they not allowed to maintain a discretionary account? Like if we could get some clarification on that, just so we're all on the same page.
I'll yield my speaking turn to Adrian.
Adrian, go ahead.
Sure. CEN being the primary campus programming board, they should not need to fundraise for purposes of their organization. So that is why they have not had a discretionary account. And especially when they are receiving between 40 to 45% of the student activities fee on a yearly basis, there shouldn't be the need for fundraising. Yes, they do sell things at times, and they'll fundraise on behalf of other clubs and organizations, but they themselves do not keep a discretionary account that rolls over from year to year.
Thank you for the clarification.
Any other speakers for a speakers list? Or any motions?
Motion to call this bill to question.
Second.
All those in favor of calling this bill a question? All those opposed? Abstentions? Okay, this bill is not called to question. This is a bylaw bill, so we will have to go to roll call.
Jacob Hartzler,
Yes.
Adam Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Ainsley Iavana,
Yes.
Zachary De La Fontaine,
Yes.
Jordan St. Ange,
Yes.
Brianna Bay,
Yes.
Alexandra D. Fabridas,
Yes.
Christopher Langlois, Michaela Act,
Yes.
Zachary Domian,
Yes.
Luis De Ugarte,
Yes.
Brian Carroll,
Yes.
Jack Dunn,
Yes.
Amanda Plass,
Yes.
Liam Nugent,
Yes.
Ali Schoenfeld,
Yes.
Mike Orell,
Yes.
Ashley Harizas.
Yes.
This bill passes.
Can you go back to Chris?
Chris Langlois,
You didn't call me either. Just say
Fiona Dolan. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
yes.
Chris Langlois.
Yes.
This bill passes.
Okay, this bill passes. Any other pieces Legislation for business, Adam.
Introducing SS47-049, a bill amending Appendix A, Section 1, Article 3 of the Student Senate bylaws.
Would you like to elaborate?
Yeah, so this bill is a bylaw bill again that seeks to make an equitable playing field for the Parking Council chair. As it currently stands now, the Parking Council chair chairs the committee, can have one-on-ones with our advisor, and still sits on 2 standing committees. So their workload is increased from any other chair because you do sit on multiple committees. So this bill simply states that the Parking Council for this purpose counts as one committee that the senator would sit on, and that they would be able to sit on 1 additional committee at a minimum, with a recommendation of the Student Life Committee because it is closely aligned with parking. So similar to how the Clubs and Orgs Committee chair sits on finance and vice versa, this just allows greater collaboration between the Parking Council and the Student Life Committee.
Ainsley, point of inquiry.
I just had a quick question about line 11 with the recommendation of the Student Life Committee. If they're their own chair, why do they need the recommendation of the Student Life Committee? I know it used to sit within Student Life, but maybe I'm wrong. Doesn't it sit like as its own entity now? Why do they need the recommendation of Student Life chair?
Adam, direct.
Yeah, so just to answer the question, the Student Life Committee still deals with many areas of interest that are closely aligned with parking. For example, a parking study would likely have folks from the Student Life Committee involved, and public safety is also a student life concern. But as we know, public safety gives out tickets. So there are some overlapping points that it would be beneficial. But if the Parking Council chair is not able to sit on student life due to scheduling conflicts, then we don't have to pass a bill changing that. It's just the recommendation for that.
Go ahead, Jake, point of clarification.
Just to clarify, so this is saying that the Parking Council chair must sit on another standing committee, and that standing committee it's recommended that the other standing committee is the Student Life Committee, and not that the Student Life Committee is recommending that person for that's what this means, right?
Correct, Adam?
The previous senator is correct. It's the recommendation to sit on that committee.
All right.
Jordan?
So I totally agree with making sure that this process is a little bit more streamlined, because it did seem kind of off that, you know, as the committee chair, we only have to sit on one committee and then chair our own committee, whereas Parking Council is a lot of work in its own, and they are doing a lot of stuff in there that would make it very difficult for the Parking Council chair to sit on both 2 committees and chair their own committee. So I think that's a lot more streamlined, and I think that's a great addition to this. But I do very much agree with the recommendation part. I think the recommendation word is very key. Whereas this semester, we even had some scheduling conflicts where the recommended committees that our chairs had to sit on, it wasn't, you know, possible for that to happen. And that's just on us being students as well as senators. So I think it's very important that we keep that recommendation in there, because it might not be possible for the Parking Council chair to sit on student life. But I do agree that there are some overlapping interests in both the committees as a student life chair. So yeah, so the recommendation word is very key, and I think it's very important that we look at the recommendation word.
Mike?
Withdrawn.
Chris?
Well, there's my unmute button. Okay. So as the Parking Council chair right now, I really do agree with this bill. I think it's going to be a great precedent to only have the chairperson sit on one committee. Right now I sit on finance and clubs and orgs because I can't, due to my schedule, sit on student life. However, the student life chair actually is a part of Parking Council, which is great. We love having her there. And yeah, I would just like to show my support for this. Oh, Ainsley, no need to strike that because it's all over the Hawkline page and over our social media.
Yikes. Anyways, Brian.
Withdraw. That's what I was going to ask, if we need to strike that from the minutes.
Okay, cool. Ashley.
Kind of going back to what a previous senator just said about how the reason some people were not able to sit on the suggested committees this semester is because of their schedules, because it is important to remember that we are students first, and this whoever the parking chair will be should not have to do more work should not have to do more work than the other committee chairs, because they, just like the rest of us, are a student first, and that should be prioritized and not prioritize making them do extra work.
Are there any other speakers for the speakers list?
Motion to call this bill to question.
Second.
All those in favor of calling this bill a question? All those opposed? Abstentions? This bill will not be called to question. We'll go right to roll call.
All right, Jacob Hartzler,
Yes.
Adam Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Ainsley Iavona,
Yes.
Zachary LaFontaine,
Yes.
Jordan St. Ange,
Yes.
Brianna Bay,
Yes.
Alexandra DeFabridis,
Yes.
Christopher Langlois,
Yes.
Michaela Apt,
Yes.
Zachary Domian,
Yes.
Luis de Ugarte,
Yes.
Brian Carroll,
Yes.
Jack Dunn,
Yes.
Amanda Plass,
Yes.
Liam Nugent,
Yes.
Ali Schoenfeld,
Yes.
Mike Orell,
Yes.
Ashley Harrizas,
Yes.
Fiona Dolan.
Yes.
This bill passes.
Sorry, my AirPods decided to die, but we'll figure that out eventually. So yeah, this bill passes. Any other piece of legislation for old business? Adam.
Promise only two more. Introducing SS47 047, a bill amending Article 2, Section 15, subsection 4 of the Student Senate bylaws.
Would you like to elaborate?
Yes, I would. So this bill deals with the subsection is labeled demerit records, but this really deals with the timeline of when demerits are being given. I understand that demerits are not the most fun thing to talk about, which is why I think this bill is important, because it seeks to clarify some pieces. So this year was the first year that we instituted a Google form that anyone can request demerits. And because of that, it's not an email. So this means that a sender has 1 week from a demeritable offense to submit the Google form or any other area. So that way, if something occurred on Monday, a sender would have until the previous or the following Monday. And then the secretary would have 1 week from the form being submitted to send it out. That way, in case the sender does not have office hours, or if it gets submitted on Friday at 5 p.m., there would be that leeway. And then just kind of clarify some other language. More than happy to answer any questions. And once again, I know demerits are not the most fun thing to talk about.
Motion, Brian.
Motion to limit debate to 10 minutes.
Second.
All those in favor of limiting debate to 10 minutes? All those opposed? Abstentions? Debate's limited to 10 minutes. We'll get the timer started now. Ali, point of inquiry.
Thank you. It's a pretty quick one. Just going off of the factual introduction, if considering you said that this subsection is more of a demerits timeline, would you be in favor of changing it the title of the subsection to demerits, records, and timeline, or do you not feel that that's necessary, just while we have it up here?
Direct.
Personally, I don't feel it's necessary because a demerit can't be recorded if it doesn't fall into the timeline. So to me, it seems like in order to record it, we have to have a timeline. So it kind of is two parts in one.
Brianna?
Yeah, I think this makes it really clear when you need to give demerits by, and it also makes it a lot more fair for the secretary because as the previous senator said, like if they don't have an office hour, if it's submitted Friday at 5 p.m., they don't always have time to go and email students about their demerit request. And well, I do think it's unfortunate that people might have to wait a little longer to get their demerit request. I don't think it really changes anything in the overall scheme of things. So I would be in favor of this.
Ashley?
I am in favor of this because of the point where we are not only keeping the people submitting the demerits accountable with the 1 week timeline, but also keeping the secretary accountable with the 1 week timeline. Because if you're keeping the people you're demeriting accountable, the person sending out the demerits to the people being demerited should also be held accountable.
Are there any other speakers for the speakers list? Ainsley?
I was just wondering for line 13, should we specify, because I know there are multiple kinds of warnings that are given with demerits, like a warning of a possible demerit for a future situation. Like if you miss an office hour, you get one saying like, if you do this again, like you will get demerits. Should we specify within that the formal warning, once you reach a total of 10 demerits, refers to the fact that once you get 12, you're no longer a senator and all that?
Direct, Adrian?
I yield.
I think, actually, I'll let Adam do a point of information.
The secretary would be in favor of naming it a demerit accumulation warning to specify.
Any other speakers for the speakers list?
Motion to call this bill to question.
I hear no second, so we're going. Oh, I'm going to veto. Adam?
Motion to amend line 13 to read the secretary must provide senators. Oh, never mind. Thanks. Parliamentarian.
Motion to call this bill to question.
Going to veto that just because I have another thought on this. Just I guess a point of personal privilege. Would the main sponsor, the secretary, be in favor of changing any wording of senators to Senate members, since technically any Senate member can give demerits, i.e. The president, the parliamentarian, and the president parliamentarian can also get demerits as well. So that we're being consistent with our language. Adam?
I think that change is well intended, but I think there would be an overhaul of multiple sections, because in many sections of our bylaws with demerits and other things, we just list senators. I would definitely be in favor of that, but more in the form of a whole separate bill for the whole section.
Okay. Oh, goodness.
Motion to call this bill to question. Finally?
Second?
Any, all those in favor of calling this bill a question? All those opposed? Abstentions? This bill is not called to question. Kayla, go ahead and do roll call.
Jacob Hartzler,
Yes.
Adam Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Ainsley Ivana,
Yeah.
Zachary LaFontaine,
Yes.
Jordan St. Ange,
Yes.
Brianna Bay,
Yes.
Alexandra DeFabridas,
Yes.
Christopher Langlois,
Yes.
Michaela Apt,
Yes.
Zachary Domian,
Yes.
Luis de Ugarte,
Yes.
Brian Carroll,
Yes.
Jack Dunn,
Yes.
Amanda Plass,
Yes.
Liam Nugent,
Yes.
Ali Schoenfeld, Mike Orell,
Yes.
Ashley Harrizas,
Yes.
Fiona Dolan.
Yes.
All right, this bill passes.
Okay, that bill passes. Any other piece of legislation for old business? Adam.
Introducing SS47-046, a bill amending Article 2, Section 16 of the Student Senate bylaws.
Would you like to elaborate?
Yes, I would. So very simply, we know that the Secretary is a big fan of consistency. In doing so, this would seek to make the timeline that a senator has to appeal demerits 2 weeks down to 1 week to remain consistent with the other subsection, but also to make sure that all demerit related activities are done within a period of 4 to 5 weeks instead of having it drag on up to potentially a month and a half, depending on scheduling bylaw appeal or demerit appeals committee. And then there's just a few other changes of making the appeal to the parliamentarian versus the appeals committee, as the appeals committee is dynamic, so it changes. And then just adding in a word and two.
I'll open up the speakers list now. Brian, motion.
Motion to limit debate to 7 minutes.
Second.
All those in favor of limiting debate to 7 minutes? All those opposed? Abstentions? Debate is now limited to 10 minutes. We'll start a timer now. Any speakers?
Did you
for
say
speakers
10
list?
minutes or 7
No,
minutes?
7 minutes. Okay, so we'll open up the speakers list. Ali, go ahead.
I think sort of going off of the secretary's factual introduction, it's pretty straightforward. It's just clarifying what in this section, what we just passed in the last bill, keeping everything consistent. So I think it looks good. I'm totally in favor.
Any other speakers for the speakers list?
Motion to call this bill to question.
Second.
All those in favor of calling this bill a question? All those opposed? Abstentions? This bill is not called to question. We can start roll call.
Jacob Hartzler,
Yes.
Adam Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Ainsley Iavana,
Yes.
Zachary LaFontaine,
Yes.
Jordan St. Ange,
Yes.
Brianna Bay,
Yes.
Alexandra DeFabridas,
Yes.
Christopher Langlois,
Yes.
Michaela Apt,
Yes.
Zachary Domian,
Yes.
Luis de Ugarte,
Yes.
Brian Carroll,
Yes.
Jack Dunn,
Yes.
Amanda Plass,
Yes.
Liam Nugent,
Yes.
Ali Schoenfeld, Mike Orell,
Yes.
Yes.
Ashley Harrizas,
Yes.
Fiona Dolan. All right, this bill passes.
Okay. Is there any other piece of legislation for old business?
Motion to close old business.
Second.
Those in favor of closing old business? All those opposed? Abstentions? Old business is now closed. Any motions for new business?
Motion to open new business.
Second.
All those in favor of opening new business? All those opposed? Abstentions? New business is now open. Any pieces of legislation for new business? Jordan?
Sorry. Introducing SS47XXX, a resolution challenging departments on campus to be more environmentally sustainable for regular consideration.
Looking forward to hearing that. Jake?
introducing SS47XXX, a bill ratifying all Class E, D, C, B, and A organizations, club sports, and club budgets for the 2021-2022 academic year.
Point of inquiry, Adam?
Was this bill previously introduced last week in new business?
Was it? I don't know.
I believe it was. For safety's sake, we'll say it was.
Yeah, thought I'd be safe. Yeah. Either way, I have another one I can introduce.
Well, go ahead.
That's good that we have that one already in there. Introducing SS47XXX, a bill allocating funds from the reserve account for the purchase of and implementation of plaques for the Poconoket Path project.
Is that for regular consideration?
Yes.
Looking forward to hearing it. Any other pieces of legislation for new business?
Motion to close new business.
Second.
All those in favor of closing new business? All those opposed? Abstentions? New business is now closed.